My name is Sarah. We're going to be doing some yoga and Pilates today. I'm excited to have you all here from all the different sites. All you'll need is a mat and a little bit of space, or a towel, or a carpet, or some kind of surface that you can do a little bit on. It's a little bit of a gloomy Wednesday evening, so we're going to start nice and slow, get some good stretching in. We'll do a little bit of core work.
AJ's mom,
And
she's been taking a belly
get
dance
going.
class. But I'm not gonna take it tonight. It was last night and tonight. I made
Okay. All right. So we are going to start in a comfortable seated position. So whatever that means for you today is going to be awesome. So if comfortable is cross-legged like I am, that's great. If you want to take the legs out long or bend the knees and plant the feet, or maybe just bring them around to one side, wherever you're comfortable will be great, but we'll just get started there. We're going to take a couple of minutes just to focus in and center on our breathing and focus on a little bit of body awareness. Just kind of notice how we're feeling today. And everything that we do today should be without any judgment of yourself, because it's been, it's Wednesday and it's already been a long week, and we're all dealing with very different situations than we're used to. And so, if you notice any kind of tension that's not normally in your body, and it's there today, no judgment of yourself necessary. Just allow yourself to be present in where you are today, and allow yourself to be proud of yourself for taking this time for yourself and for your body, and to thank it for what it does for you today. So from that comfortable seated position, we're just going to start by becoming aware of your breathing right now. So not necessarily deepening through your breathing, but just noticing where you're at today, and noticing maybe your breath is a little bit shallower, a little bit deeper than it normally is. Maybe you already started to prepare for class and kind of took a moment to center, or maybe you just hopped off of a work call and you were able to take some time to sit down, and maybe your breathing kind of reflects that. So just noticing that to get us started. And then as we continue here, we are going to start to deepen through that breath. But before we do that, what I want you to do is, with your inhales, we have two things that I want you to notice. So the first one is, with every inhale, I want you to think about lengthening through the spine out the top of the head. So thinking about maybe sitting up a little bit taller in whatever position you are. With each inhale, thinking about that little bit of extra length through the spine, a little bit of good posture here as we sit up a little bit taller. The second thing I want you to notice as you inhale is a little bit of expansion. So allowing that space for your air to flow in, allowing the chest to expand as it flows in, allowing the belly to expand as it flows in. Those two different things with your inhales, taking a moment to just notice it. Once again, no need to necessarily change your breathing patterns just yet. Just kind of noticing where you are and allowing those two things to happen within your body. And now I want you to start to take that moment to slightly deepen through your inhales and exhales. So making that inhale and exhale a little bit longer, a little bit fuller, allowing a little bit more air to travel into your lungs. And now I want to take a moment to refocus on our exhale. So up next, we're going to do a scan of the body. So if you've been here in class with me before, maybe we've done it while we've been here. All we're going to do is travel from the top of the head down to the tips of the toes. Once again, without any judgment, we're just going to notice how we're feeling, noticing each and every body part. With our exhales here, what I want you to really think about is releasing any tension that you might find. So with each exhale, maybe sending it to that spot of tension that you found, or maybe sending it total body to allow the muscles to relax a little bit more. So starting off with just the eyes, maybe your gaze softens down towards the floor, or maybe you allow them to gently close. And then we're going to start from the top of the head, noticing maybe if that tension builds up in the muscles in the face or the jaw. If you find it, sending that exhale there. Traveling down to the neck and the shoulders, same thing. Allowing them to relax a little bit if you find that tension. Finding that exhale, bringing it a little bit more space. Moving down through the arms, biceps, and the triceps, down to the forearms, to the tips of the fingers. Noticing if there's any tension there. Letting that release. Through the torso, the upper and lower back, the core, noticing if there's anything there that's maybe a little bit stiff, or maybe you can send that exhale there and allow that extra down through the hips and the glutes, into the quads, the hamstrings, down through the lower leg, all the way to the tips of the toes. Taking one more nice deep inhale and exhale. With that inhale, finding a little bit of length, and with that exhale, finding that little. All right, so we're gonna take two more nice deep breaths just like that, but this time with those inhales, what I want you to think about is creating that tension, creating that fire in your body. So as you inhale, we're gonna start from the top of the head, and I want you to scrunch up all the muscles that you can think of in your body. So with your inhale, scrunching up the muscles in the face, tightening through the jaw, maybe pulling the shoulders up towards the ears, scrunching through the hands, down all the way through the legs, the core, the toes, and then a big exhale, let all of that tension that you just built up. We're gonna find that just one more time with your next big inhale, finding all that tension, every muscle in your body that you can think of, building it up, flexing it, and then big exhale to allow it to release. All right, so we're gonna start to connect our movement to our breathing now. So what I want you to do, if you have those legs long, maybe fold them in. We're just gonna use them as a little bit of support. We've got our spinal twist up next. So with this first big inhale, I want you to find that long spine once again. And then with your exhale, we're just gonna twist to that right. If I was frozen, hopefully we'll catch back up in just a second. So finding that spinal twist. And then with our next big inhale, we're gonna come through center. So inhale to center, nice long spine, and then exhale over in that other direction. Sorry if I did freeze for a second there, spotty Wi-Fi today. Hopefully you're all back with me again. All right, we're gonna connect this movement with our breath. So big inhale through center, nice long spine here, extending out the top of the head, and then with that exhale, moving to that other side. So from here, I want you to flow with the pace of your breath for a moment. So with each inhale coming through center, and with each exhale, moving to that other side. And so maybe you'll move a little bit faster or slower than me today. That's okay. I just want you to really connect to your breath, connect to your breathing, finding those inhales for that length and finding that nice twist through the spine. This one feels really good after a long day of sitting in that chair that doesn't love my back so much. All right, nice. I want you guys to find one more time in each direction here. And when you finish that second one, I want you to come on back to center and meet me right in the middle. All right, so from here, we're gonna find a couple of nice stretches. So I want you to take that right leg and we're gonna lengthen it out. We're gonna keep that left leg folded in. All right, so we're gonna find two different ranges of motion here. First thing, I want you to inhale, find that nice long spine. We're gonna turn the torso to face that leg, and then keeping your long spine, I want you to just hinge forward at the hips. So flat back might feel a little bit weird. Maybe you don't get quite down to those toes. That's okay. We're finding a little bit different of a stretch. With that next exhale, I want you to really round out through that spine, extend the fingertips towards the toes, and open up through your back to find this stretch. So maybe this changes the muscle group that you're stretching today. That's okay, finding it there. Take a moment to peek at whoever's in the chat. Make sure we're all back. Right. Okay, so from here, we're gonna change our range of motion. You're gonna keep those right fingertips down towards those right toes, and then we're gonna bring that left arm up over top. We've got this nice little bit of length from those left fingertips down to that left hip in contact with the mat. With that next exhale, go ahead and bring that hand down and then find that forward fold once again. With your next inhale, nice and slow, I want you to go ahead and roll it on up. And we're just going to change those legs. So I'm going to take that left leg out long. I'm going to bring that right leg in, fold it in. Once again, we're going to inhale for our nice long spine, taking those fingertips out towards the toes of that long spine, finding that little bit of space, that nice big stretch through the hamstrings. And then with your next exhale, I want you to go ahead and fold forward, finding that little bit of extra space here. Nice, finding maybe an extra exhale to bring it a little bit further forward. And then we're going to change our range of motion once again. So keeping those left fingertips down towards those left toes, bring that right arm up over top, find that nice lateral stretch from those fingertips down to that hip in contact with. And then with your next exhale, go ahead and bring that hand down. And then we're going to inhale to roll it on up. All right, so I'm gonna turn sideways just to face the short edge of my mat so that you can see me. If you are already facing the short edge of your mat, you're welcome to stay there, or if you have enough space to stay in these stretches, you're welcome to stay facing whatever direction works for you today. So we're gonna find a spinal twist first. So I'm gonna take this leg that was already just folded in, and I'm gonna cross it right over that opposite leg. So my left leg is out long, my right leg is folded over. I'm gonna find an inhale for a nice long spine, and then we're gonna twist over towards that right side, so towards that leg that's bent. You can bring the hand around the outside of the knee, or you can bring it around to the other side, that elbow using it as kind of a prop, and then opening up those shoulder blades towards that wall that you're facing here. Trying to keep that long spine, taking just a moment in this stretch. And then a nice big exhale to go ahead and release, come back to center. We're gonna switch those legs. So taking that opposite leg out long, cross that other leg over. Inhale for our nice long spine, little spinal twist. Again, you can wrap that hand around, or you can bring that elbow to the outside, returning towards that leg that's crossed over the opposite, finding that long spine, taking a moment here. And then a nice big exhale to come back to center. Okay, so I'm gonna keep this leg crossed over, but what I'm gonna do is take this long leg and I'm just gonna bend at that knee and plant that foot. We're gonna find a little figure four stretch. We've got one more stretch here before we get into a little bit of work. We're gonna find that core. We're gonna find those glutes. I'm gonna bring it down to the floor up next. So I currently have my right leg crossed over my left knee. If you're switched, that's okay. You can stay right where you are. And then all I'm gonna do is find this nice stretch by lifting this bottom foot up off the floor. I'm interlacing my hands underneath that knee, and then we're just gonna take a second to press that knee out towards that opposite wall. So not actually taking my hand and pressing it, but just thinking about activating those muscles to take the knee towards that wall and activate there. Finding that nice stretch here. And then with that next exhale, go ahead and release that foot down to the floor. We're gonna keep it right here before we switch, and we're gonna find a single leg glute bridge to really get the muscles moving here. So that foot is planted on the floor, nice pressure through the entire foot, so we're not lifting up onto the toes, we're lifting the toes up off of the mat. We're gonna activate through the hamstrings and the glutes. I can use my hands for support here, and then we're just gonna lift those hips up nice and high, single leg glute bridge, and then nice and slow, lower it back down. We're gonna do that a couple of times here. So kind of moving at your own pace, finding that pressure, lifting up, and then lowering back down. Now, if you've done it once or twice and this is a little intense or it twinges anything today, I invite you to always uncross that foot and bring it just to a normal glute bridge down the center. But this just kind of allows us to focus in on that single leg, find that nice activation through that standing leg side. All right, nice. Give me two more of those from wherever you are, all the way up and all the way back down. And then when you finish that, I'm gonna uncross this leg and we're gonna find that stretch on that opposite side, our figure four. So crossing that ankle over the knee, lifting that foot up off the floor, interlace underneath that lifted leg. And then once again, thinking about actively pressing that knee towards that opposite wall, not actually using our hand, but as if we were just activating through those muscles to kind of press it away from the body. Finding this nice stretch here. Nice. And then when you're ready, go ahead, release that foot down to the floor. Same thing on this side. We've got our single leg glute bridge, pressing those hips up and then bringing it back down. Couple of times here once again. Nice. So really activating through that standing leg, taking this time to really think about that single leg and pressing through the bottom of that foot, not just through the heel or through the toes, but really creating a nice stable base. Give me 2 more of these here, and we'll get into some core work today. When you finish those last 2, I want you to go ahead and uncross that foot, and then we're just going to pull those knees in towards the chest. So taking a moment here to just maybe rock a little bit side to side or in little circles, and then we're going to start to get that core moving with a little bit of Pilates footwork today. So you can either take those hands out wide or you can bring them under the hips for a little bit more support. We're going to take those knees to that 90 degrees. To make this more intense, you can lift the head and shoulders up off the floor. To make it a little bit less intense, you can always leave the head and shoulders down on that mat. And then all we're going to do here is keep those feet and those knees nice and close together. And then we're going to extend those legs out long. Now, the closer you come towards the floor with that extension, the tougher this exercise will be. The higher towards the ceiling you come with it, the easier this will be. So choose your intensity here. And we're just going to get going with this a couple of times, really activating through that lower core, finding your breath. Nice. So the lower back, not necessarily need to be pressed entirely against the floor, but if it moves while you're moving your legs and doesn't maintain that natural arch of your lower back, maybe just decrease that intensity a little bit and take those feet up a little bit closer towards the ceiling. Give me 3 more of these, and then we'll change up that range of motion. We'll hit that upper core. When you finish those 3, I want you to just bring those knees back to 90 degrees. We're going to find a couple of crunches here. So I want you to take those hands right behind the head, and then we're just going to activate lifting through the head and shoulders off the floor, and then back down. Nice and easy, steady range of motion. An exhale to come up, and then an inhale to come back down. Just kind of getting it moving here, activating that upper core. Nice. Make sure you keep breathing here. And you also want to make sure that you keep that neck nice and long. So we're not crunching the chin in towards the chest. We're crunching almost up towards the ceiling. Let's keep going with this for another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and release the head and shoulders down to the mat. Pull those knees in towards the chest. We're going to move into our double leg stretch. So we're starting from this position. Once again, for that lower intensity, head and shoulders can stay on the floor. Higher intensity, you can lift it up off the floor here. And then we're going to extend long in both directions. So the feet and the arms go out in opposite directions. And then I'm going to circle the arms around to catch the feet. So same concept as with that other exercise. The lower you take the feet towards the floor, the more difficult this will be. The higher they are towards the ceiling, the easier this exercise will be. So keeping it moving here. Don't forget to breathe. Nice job, you guys. Keep going, keep going. Really working that core front for this little segment. Give me 3 more of those. When you finish that 3rd one, I want you to go ahead and pull those knees back into the chest for a moment here. We're just going to change up that exercise, so we're still focusing on that core front. Up next, I want you to pull that right knee in towards the chest. We're going to take this left leg out long. So same thing, the lower towards the ground the left leg comes, the harder this exercise will be, the higher towards the ceiling it goes, the easier this exercise will be. We're going to grab both hands onto that right leg and pull it in towards the chest. Once again, head and shoulders off the floor, a little tougher. head and shoulders down a little easier. The thing I want you to think about on this exercise is that we're not switching the legs at the same time. I want both to meet out long. So I'm taking my right leg, it's out to meet my left long, and then I'm pulling it in opposite side. So getting going with that, both legs meet out long, and then opposite one pulls in. This one actually is a little tougher if you move slower because you can kind of pause out at that tail end for a moment and really use that core strength to keep those feet floating. If you move a little faster, that actually takes a little bit of the pressure off. Or here, makes it a little bit easier. Don't forget to breathe, and once again, trying to keep that neck a little bit long, so try not to pull the chin in towards the chest. Couple more here, you guys got it. For another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nice work. Go ahead, pull the knees into the chest, taking just a little mini break. I'm going to keep going. If you need a little bit longer of a rest, feel free to stay here while I'm demoing this next one. We've got our single leg stretch. Straight leg. Yeah, you got it. It's fine. We're going to grab that calf. That opposite leg is going to be out long like this last one. This one, we are moving both legs at the same time. Our goal is to get the head and shoulders off the floor. We've got 2 pulses in this direction, and then we're going to scissor those legs to switch. So if you need a little bend in those knees, that's totally okay here. Those hamstrings aren't quite ready, but we're just scissoring those legs to switch, finding those 2 nice pulses up towards the ceiling once again, trying to keep that neck nice and long, trying to keep it moving, and don't forget to breathe. I always do, especially when I talk this much. Nice work, you guys. You got it. Stick with me. We're almost to the end of these core front exercises. Good work, good work. For another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead, pull the knees in towards the chest. Our last core front exercise. We've got our leg lowers. Take those feet up towards the ceiling. Once again, those hands can come out wide or they can come under those hips. We're just bringing those legs down and up through our range of motion. So again, if that low back pops up off the floor, just decrease your range of motion a little bit. We want to keep it nice and safe. Make sure that we're not putting it in harm's way just to get those abs moving, because a little counterintuitive there. As always, don't forget to breathe, and same thing here, those knees can be slightly bent. That's totally okay. Those hamstrings aren't quite ready for a straight leg today. Nice work. We're almost there. We're gonna give that core front a break next. Keep moving with me for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nice work. Okay, go ahead and take a break. Pull those knees in towards the chest. Maybe you let them maybe let the feet come to the ground and let those knees move side to side for a little spinal twist. Taking a second to recover. And then once your back feels good and your core feels like it's had a minute, we're going to just flip it over onto our stomach. So however is best for you to get there, you can flip it over the way that I just did, or you can just roll over so that you're facing the same direction here. So when we bring it down, we are going to take those feet long behind us. We're going to take those arms out in front. We're going to start off with the easiest exercise, although I wouldn't necessarily say it's easy. It's going to be a little less pressure on your lower back. If we will progress up from there. If at any point you feel like the next progression is a little bit too tough or a little bit too much for you today, I invite you to just stay with the one that we did before that, or bring it back down to this first one, wherever you're comfortable today. So I want you to start with that neck nice and neutral and long, and those fingertips are going to go out towards that opposite wall from those toes. We're starting with our X lift, so we've got our opposite arm and opposite leg. They're going to come up off of that floor right here, and then lower back down and switch. So we're going to alternate. Whenever you're ready, let's get going with this X lift. Opposite arm and opposite leg, and then back down and switch. So we're just kind of getting the shoulder warmed up. We're getting the lower back warmed up. We're activating through those glutes as we lift that leg. Nice. So keeping it going here. Okay, great. So I'm going to take it up a notch. If you're ready, you can follow with me. If not, you can stay right with that X lift. All we're going to do is change it into a Superman. So we're going to lift both directions here and then lower right back down, trying to keep that neck kind of in line with the spine. So giving it a little bit of a lift, but not looking up towards the ceiling as you lift up off the floor. Great thing about Pilates and yoga is that it does give some nice focus to the back, because as far as core goes, the back is just as important as the core front. And these are some great, simple, low range of motion exercises that you can do. I'm going to take it up once again. Again, if this next one doesn't look right, you can keep it right where we were. Take it back to those X lifts. Right here, we've got a lift. We're going to activate through those lats. We're pulling the elbows down towards the side. We're extending back out, and then we're lowering. So it's a lift, in, out, and down. Once again, you can stay with those Supermans or those X lifts if that's where you're at today. If you want to take it up to where I am, we're keeping it moving here, still activating through the back, and really trying to think about activating those lats and pulling those shoulder blades together as you pull the elbows down towards the sides. Nice job, you guys. All right, I've got one more progression. So once again, you can stay right here, or we can take it up a notch to swimming. We've got 20 seconds left. Our swimming is opposite arm, opposite leg. We're floating up off the floor. Whenever you're ready, let's get going with this. We've got another 15 here. If you're still at one of those other exercises, just keeping it moving. Another couple of seconds. We've got 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Big exhale, lower down. Give that lower back a little break. We're going to press it back into our child's pose. I'm going to put a little pressure through my hands, taking my knees nice and wide, toes close together, hips back towards the heels. We're going to take just a moment here to let that lower back release. Taking a couple of nice deep breaths. In this child's pose, if you're comfortable right here, you're welcome to stay right here. If you'd like, you can bend at those elbows and put the hands on the shoulders for a little tricep stretch, or you can walk those hands side to side for a nice lateral stretch once again. Any of those that works for you is awesome. All right, and from this position, we're going to take it up to hands and knees. We're going to find our cat and cow next to give that back a little bit of a nice break and a range of motion after all that hard work we just did. When you get to hands and knees, I want you to make sure that the shoulders are right over the wrists, that the hips are right over the knees, so we're nice and stable. And then we're going to flow with the pace of our breath once again. So as you inhale, I want you to drop the belly towards the floor and look up towards the ceiling. As you exhale, I want you to pull that spine up towards the ceiling, tuck the chin in towards the chest. So just kind of flowing here, finding the pace of your breath once again, keeping it moving for a couple of moments. Right, awesome. Keep going right there. You guys look great. Nice. Okay, so up next, we're going to actually bring it out long onto our mat once again. So we've got one more exercise, and this one I think is kind of just a nice stretch for that lower back and that front side body. So instead of extending those arms out long, I'm going to have you bring them in right next to your chest here. We're going to do our swan stretch. So I want you to then lift those hands about 2 or 3 inches up off the floor. Our first thing in this exercise is an active lift. So we're going to actively lift as far as we can off of the floor. The second thing will be a nice stretch. You can take this at your own pace, kind of back and forth. We'll have a couple of moments. So first part, our active lift, I'm not using my hands at all. I'm just lifting my upper body up off the floor. So my feet stay down on the floor, my upper body comes up. I'm going to hold there for about a moment or two just to find that activation. Then I'm going to press my hands into the floor and then come up into my cobra pose. So nice little stretch through the front side of the body. This is a little bit intense of a pose. You can always bring it down to those elbows and just find that low cobra. When you're Nice big exhale to bring it down to the floor once again. And then all we're gonna do is just keep flowing with that a couple of times here. So you're gonna actively lift up off of the floor. You're gonna then take a moment, find that activation, press those hands into the mat, and then lift up nice and high, find that nice big stretch. So go ahead and keep it going there for a moment. Nice. So finding your breath here, finding that nice big stretch. Give me 2 more of those. When you finish those last 2, I want you to meet me up in that cobra. So nice and tall. So we're up in our cobra. When you get here, we're going to take just a moment. If you want to take that intensity up, you can put the tops of those feet on the floor and lift those quads off the floor into our up dog. And then when you're ready, we're just going to meet in our down dog. So turn those toes over, press those hips up and back. I'm going to take a moment here to find a nice stretch through the back of those legs. So maybe you take a second to pedal out those heels. Maybe you just press them down towards the floor and those hips up towards the ceiling. To finish out today, we're going to find our nice little flow. We're going to bring in our chair like we have the last couple classes. So if you've been here with me before, maybe you'll recognize this. And you can get started moving as I kind of explain this first round. So I'll go nice and slow, and I'm going to bring out that breathing for us. So our first round here, I want you to find a nice big inhale. We're going to lengthen a little bit more up towards that ceiling, hips up nice and high. With our exhale, we have 2 ranges of motion. We're floating the shoulders out over the wrists, and then we're lowering down either from the toes or from the knees. With your next inhale, we're pressing up. We've got our our up dog or our cobra. And then we're going to exhale, turn those toes over, press those hips up and back. From here, you're stepping or jumping those feet forward to meet the hands. We're going to find an inhale for a halfway lift, nice flat back, long spine. An exhale to fold forward. And then we've got our chair up next. We're going to sit those hips back. You're going to inhale to sweep those arms up. We've got a 3, 2, 1, hold, stand it up. Exhale to fold forward. And then we're going to right here plant those hands, step those feet back, and then press the hips up and back into our down dog. This is our meeting point back at the beginning. I'm going to start right from there. If you need to move a little faster or slower than me today, that is totally fine. We've got an inhale, nice long spine. With our exhale, 2 ranges of motion, floating the shoulders out over the wrists, and then lowering down. Inhale to press up, cobra, low cobra, or up dog. Exhale to turn those toes over, press those hips up and back. Step or jump those feet forward to meet the hands. Inhale, halfway lift, nice flat back, long spine. Exhale to fold forward. We've got our chair next. Sit those hips back. Inhale, pull those arms up for 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, go ahead, stand it up. Exhale, fold forward. When you reach the bottom, we're going to plant those hands and then step those feet back. High plank, push those hips up and back, down dog. There we go. That's 2 times through. We've got 2 more here. Stick with me. Inhale, nice long spine. Exhale, float the shoulders out over the wrists and lower down from the knees or the toes. Inhale to press up, cobra, low cobra, or up dog. Exhale, turn those toes over, press those hips up and back. Stepping or jumping those feet forward to meet the hands. Inhale for a halfway lift, nice long spine, flat back. Exhale to fold forward. Chair is up next. Go ahead, sit those hips back. Inhale to lift those arms. We've got our hold for 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale to stand it up. Exhale to fold it forward. Plant those hands, step those feet back. High plank, press those hips up and back. Down dog. Last time through here, you guys, stick with me. Inhale, nice long spine. Exhale, float the shoulders out over the wrists and lower down. Inhale to press up dog, cobra, low cobra. Exhale, turn those toes over, hips up and back. Step or jump those feet forward to meet the hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Chair up next, sit those hips back. Inhale, lift those arms for 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, stands it up tall. Exhale, fold it forward. Plant those hands, step those feet back, press those hips up and back. We're going to take a moment of recovery before we flip it over and finish it out today. So if your recovery is in a down dog or maybe flowing through one more time, that's awesome. Maybe your recovery is in a dolphin, or maybe your recovery today is in a child's pose. We're going to take 5 or 6 nice deep breaths here, spending a moment. So if you're flowing through, you have a minute to get through that one last time. If you're in any of those other recovery poses, just trying to find your breath once again, taking a second. Maybe those wrists need a little roll. Just kind of listen to your body and see how you're feeling. We're almost done today, you guys. Looking good. See how many times I can drop my microphone. All right. So one more time, just to meet those of you that flowed through or that stayed in down dog. If you found that child's pose, little pressure through all 10 fingers. Lift those hips, flip those toes, press them up and back. Finding one last down dog, meeting me here, taking a second, pedaling out those heels. And then from here, I want you guys to just transition to a nice comfortable seated position. So however you want to get there, I'm just going to drop that leg and swing it around. Wherever feels good for you guys today. Got just a few more moments. Yeah, right, awesome. So once again, back to that comfortable seated position that we found at the beginning. We're going to find a nice little upper body stretch, and then we'll finish out with a nice deep breath, with a minute or two to spare. So when you find that comfortable seated position, I want you to find a nice big inhale, long spine. We're going to interlace those fingers with your exhale, press the palms forward, tuck the chin in towards the chest, round out the spine towards that back wall. With your next inhale, I want you to lift up those palms towards the ceiling, find that long spine once again. We're going to release with our exhale, but keep those hands up high, so fingertips point towards the ceiling. With our next inhale, reach up a little bit higher. With our exhale, we're going to find that left wrist with that right hand, and we're going to pull slightly up over top. Nice big lateral stretch. With your next big inhale, go ahead, pull it through center. Switch those hands. Same thing on that other side. Nice big stretch here. Big inhale back to center. Big exhale, circle those arms down and around. You can place or you can interlace those hands behind the hips. Inhale to open up through the chest, pull the shoulder blades together, and then a nice big exhale to release. All right, we're going to finish out with one more nice deep breath. We're going to lead with those arms as you inhale, pulling them out and up. Those palms meet at the top. We exhale to pull them down to heart center. The light in me honors the light in you. I thank you so much for being here and practicing with me today. Have an awesome rest of your Wednesday evenings. Bowing as we say, namaste.